bigotry and racism cannot be legislated away. Like this is a disease of the heart, and
Yes.
and hearts disease hearts have to be treated, and then there has to be like a cultural shift.
I looked for protection from Allah.
In your lifetime, have you seen it get better or worse? How would you describe it?
I see it as the same. I just think that more people believe us now because of smartphones. But the same stuff was going on when I was a teenager, and then in the early 1990s. When the Rodney King, which beat down, which was the first video that got national attention as far as a police brutality case like that. Rodney King cases like that were going on everywhere. They were going on in my city. I knew a guy who was a teenager that reached for his registration during a road stop and got shot and killed by the police of the town that I used to live in. So like we all know about these things. And those police got their case got dismissed, or they didn't. In fact, they didn't even get charged, right? So
Yeah.
much less dismissed. So it's just the only thing that's changed is that now some of these are being recorded. That's all that's changed.
Mm-hmm. Well, why is it that it has to be recorded? Like we have this Me Too movement that says believe women. Why don't we believe black people? Why can't we believe the injustices that they can testify that they're experiencing?
Again, it goes back to the founding of this country and the system in which this country was established upon. And, we live in a country where black people were dehumanized, and a large percentage of them being Muslims, by the way. And this is why also in my political education to certain congregations, I say that the issue of Islamophobia in America is older than the country itself, right? So I also mentioned that too as well. But you have a country where it is written in the Constitution that black people constitute 3/5 of a person, 3/5 of a human being. And that's still in the American Constitution. It was only an amendment to that Constitution, right? So when the framers of this country wrote the early Constitution, and they wrote about black people as being in law, like chattel, like a cow or a horse, then there's a long legacy of this, and it is institutionalized in the United States of America, which has dehumanized black people. So it's a very deep thing, and it's not just a thing of passing laws and getting more fair judges, because bigotry and racism cannot be legislated away. Like this is a disease of the heart, and
Yes.
and hearts hearts have to be treated, and then there has to be like a cultural shift. So we have all types of laws in the books, anti-lynching laws. We've had like civil rights laws after Malcolm X was martyred, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in 1964 Civil Rights Act, 1965 Voting Rights Act, and then you have the Immigration Act of 1965, which allowed Muslims to be able to come to immigrate from Africa and South Asia. And you have all these laws, right, in affirmative action, but at the end of the day, you still see that certain people, that those laws were passed to help remedy their problems. It didn't really fix much in the past 45, 50 years. Didn't really change, not a lot fundamentally.
So do you feel these laws are more of a superficial attempt? Maybe similar in the same vein as, people will point to celebrities. Oh, look at these basketball players and these singers, and look at Oprah Winfrey, and you can make it. Look, if you just apply yourself and try and play by the rules, you can make it. And they point to these people to say that it is, look at how much the community has progressed from slavery. Like, do you feel that these are all just superficial tokenship?
Well, some things have improved, and I think some, but for the masses of black people, things, and Native Americans too, or what we call First Nations as well, the masses of First Nation people and African American people still live with the same level of disparities compared to the white population as in the 1960s, right? Things have not fundamentally changed a whole lot. Some things have gotten better, some things have gotten worse, actually. But like mass incarceration actually has gotten worse now than it was back like 50 years ago, for instance. But what I would say is that I think that there were some people who are actually well-meaning in helping to pass some of these laws, and they talk about, well, we need to end these things, but at the same time, this is a type of rhetoric that they only believe in until it causes them a little bit of discomfort, right? And then they won't go to push for the real systemic change because they don't want to experience any discomfort, or they don't want to lose anything, because in order for there to be societal justice, then, and we know this from the Sharia perspective, that the term adala or adl comes from things being in their proper places as they should be, right? So if there is a major disproportion here, then in order there to be societal justice, then there has to be some sort of leveling of the field. So people can say, and this includes the so-called liberals, by the way, they can talk about equality and justice and all these sorts of things, but as long as it doesn't affect their bottom line, as long as it doesn't affect their upward mobility. But when it starts getting to that, then they really don't want equality, right? So.
Yeah, no, I believe Malcolm X also had a similar quote describing the liberal as the fox, you know,
Yes.
and the conservative as the wolf.
Do I feel that the New York police are providing enough protection, or do I have to have protection of my own? I look for protection from Allah.